أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على خاتم الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين اللهم لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وتب علينا يا مولانا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي وبعد. We give praise and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank him once again for bringing us once again in his house that we might sit and reflect on his word, and pray that he would make our gathering a blessed gathering and that he would reward us and benefit us from whatever is done. We're still on Surah Yusuf, right? Surah 12. We did up to ayah 66 in our last session. And inshallah today we continue from ayah 67 of Surah Yusuf. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وقال يا بني لا تدخلوا من باب واحد وادخلوا من أبواب متفرقة وما يغني عنكم من الله من شيء إن الحكم إلا لله عليه توكلت وعليه فليتوكل المتوكلون ولما دخلوا من حيث أمرهم أبوهم ما كان يغني عنهم من الله من شيء إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاها وإنه لذو علم لما علمناه ولكن أكثر الناس لا يعلمون. The translation reads, and he said, "O my sons, do not enter by one gate, but enter by different gates. And I cannot avail you against Allah at all. Verily, the decision rests only with Allah. In him I put my trust. Let all those that trust put their trust in him." And when they entered according to their father's advice, it did not avail them in the least against the will of Allah. It was but a need of Yaqub in himself which he discharged. And verily he was endowed with knowledge because we had taught him, but most men know not. And so the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam continues. And in our last session, we saw that Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam had instructed his brothers that they must bring their brother with them and Benjamin with them when they return. And so they prevailed on their father to do so, to get them to allow him to bring Benjamin. And he made them swear a solemn oath that they would bring Benjamin back to him, safe and sound. And they will do all that is in their power to do so. And so, as they get ready to leave, their father, in his eyes, their father, Prophet Yaqub alayhi salatu salam, is giving them instructions on what to do. And he says to them, "O my sons, do not enter the city from one gate. Do not enter the city from one gate, but enter from different gates." That is, divide yourselves into groups and enter from different gates. And I cannot avail you against the will of Allah, against the decree of Allah. But whatever Allah decrees is going to happen. Despite whatever you use, it is due. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree always come to pass. Allah's decree always come to pass. For verily Allah's command is the command. There's no command other than the command of Allah. Right? And there's no command except the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so upon him I put my trust. And upon him I put my trust. And on him all those who rely should put their trust on him. All those who rely on someone should put their trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so Prophet Yaqub, Jacob, having lost his son Yusuf, then he sent him with his brothers. Here he's very apprehensive in sending his youngest son, the brother of Yusuf, Benjamin, in sending him with his sons once again. He's very apprehensive of this. And while he has implicit trust, in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he recommends that his son should take some precautionary measures when they go to Egypt. He's recommending that they should take some precautionary measures when they go to Egypt. And this does not betray his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This does not betray his trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he knows that his sons, they're an impressive group of young men, 11 of them. Right? There's 11 of them going. The first time was 10. Now there's 11 of them going. And this is an impressive group of young people, of young men coming in to the city. And so this being a time of famine and is a time of scarcity of food, they are coming from outside the city, from an independent tribal region outside of Egypt. And this strong, impressive-looking force of young men coming in, all coming through the same gate, coming in together, they're fearful and that they might be looked upon suspiciously. They might be looked upon suspiciously that, here is this group of people, maybe tribal warriors coming to maybe fight or to try to get something. And so the people might see some negative thing about them. Or, as many of the Mufassirin pointed out, that they might also view them with some evil eye. There might be some jealousy or envy or hatred directed towards them, and so the evil eye, which is real, might affect them. And so he did mention also that, that illa yuhata bikum in the previous ayah. He says, except you are surrounded by your enemies. So this was also a constant fear of him, that they might be surrounded by enemies and attacked. And so he instructed them not to enter from the same gate altogether. Don't go in from the same gate as a group. Right? Divide yourselves up into smaller groups and enter from the different gates of the city. As you know, back in those days, the cities had walls and they had gates going in and out. They protect the cities. They were like city states. So they protect themselves by having a big wall around the city, and the people live within the walls of the city. So anybody come and attack, they can defend them from they close their gates and defend them from within the city. Medina also had that, had the city and it had gates that you enter in the night, the gates are closed. Right? The night, the gates are closed. In the day, the gates open, and they got people, who will be there to make sure that nobody is coming up. And an enemy come, they close the gate and they defend the city from inside. That's how it was back in the day. I mean, we don't have that now, but back in the day, that's what it was. And so he told them, you need to do this. Go in from different gates. Go in from different gates. Someone said, but I asked the question, but he didn't do this when they first went. The first time they went, he didn't tell them this. So why is he telling them this now? The reality is that when they went the first time, right? When they went the first time, they went as regular people. There was no need to feel any apprehension because they're going normally. But once they went last time, the first time they went, then Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, their brother, who's the governor, he's the chief minister of the state, he recognizes them and he treats them with, as honored guests. He treats them as honored guests. So right away, the status is elevated in the eyes of the people. Right? Their status is elevated in the eyes of the people. So now it's a different. So now Yaqub is aware of this situation, and he's telling them that they need to take precaution. So he's apprehensive. Now they're going in differently than when they come out. And they went as 10 last time, now they come as 11. So he's thinking, he's apprehensive. That even if it's just the evil eye, and the evil eye is real, right? The evil eye is real, and it does affect. It is not superstition as some people think. It is not superstition as some people think. Some people who consider themselves that they're more educated than anybody else, they think that it is superstition because, people today like that who consider themselves that they believe in science. So those people who consider themselves believing in science and everything, so everything has you can figure everything out when it's not true. Science can't figure everything out. And there's a lot of stuff that you are inexplicable, things that are inexplainable. You cannot explain it, right? There's certain things you just have to accept and adopt. And that's it. That's reality. Reality is not limited to your ability to explain it. Reality is not limited to a person's ability to understand it or to comprehend it or to explain it, or to prove it. It's not limited. Reality is as it is. And it's all beyond our capacity and our ability. So we accept this, what we believe in what we are able to comprehend and understand through our senses, and we accept that beyond our senses there is reality. Reality lies beyond our senses and is not limited to what we have our sense perception. That is the understanding of the believer. That's the understanding of the believer. So our vision is always like this and never like that. The people who consider themselves, we believe in science. They're like this. So if you can explain it in terms of scientific terms, they don't believe it. So their vision is like this, very narrow. Why should we call it like that? We don't think it's only like this because we see it like that, always. They think that we're in our vision, but it is them who are myopic. Right now, that's why. Sorry, going off. They usually get to me sometimes. Right? So the evil eye is there, and so we should always seek refuge. The Prophet taught us to seek refuge from the evil eye, right? As as he said in one of his du'as, and seeking refuge, the only thing you seek, right? Min kulli aynin lam. Right? He used to, lama. Kulli aynin lama. This is one of the things he would seek refuge from evil eye. And so it happens, sometimes evil eye happen not because of one intending evil, but sometimes, it happens, you might just look at something or look at one and you admire from it, and there's some sort of hypnotic or effect that comes on the individual and cause harm. And this actually happens in many cases. So we need to protect ourselves. That's why when you look at, especially our brothers or stuff, and and you admire some brother, and the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Masha Allah, la quwwata illa billah. Masha Allah, la quwwata illa billah. We should say this always. It protects us from the evil eye, and it stops us from causing evil eye to anybody else. Right? So anything that, admiration comes right to us, we turn it back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rather than letting it or think of an individual. Right? And this did happen to one of the companions one time. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the brother, he saw me, and the brother, in his amazement that the brother, he said what he said, and it caused the brother went into pain. His whole body started paining. And I think the Prophet told him to make wudu, and the brother, wash himself in the water, and it was may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us from that. And so we seek refuge from it. And so Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, in now giving his brothers, his sons, the instruction, right? Giving them instruction, and taking the precaution. He also makes it clear to them, and is educating them and teaching them principles of understanding reality. Principles of understanding reality. He's teaching them that all universal causes operate under the perfect knowledge, power, and will of Allah. All universal causes operate under the perfect knowledge, will, and knowledge and will and power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is why we say la quwwata illa billah, or la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That is that principle there. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. All causes are subject to Allah's will and power. So nothing happens except by his will and by his power. And he knows everything. He knows everything. So this principle is a principle, most people don't know that principle. There's a principle of being that is taught by to the believers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave it to the prophets to teach us so that we would understand this principle. Right? Understand. So Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, Prophet Jacob, he is teaching his children this principle when he says, to them, he says, وَمَا أُغْنِيَ أَنْكُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. مَا أُغْنِيَ, that you will, we cannot avail, I cannot avail you against what Allah has already decreed. Whatever Allah decreed, that's it, story finished. So I'm telling you to take these necessary precautions, but don't depend on the precautions because you depend on Allah, because only Allah, because whatever Allah did, because to what you do, what Allah has decreed will come to pass. What Allah decreed will come to pass. And so he's teaching this fundamental principle that none or nothing can avail against the decree or judgment of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing. Because his final, his determination in all matters is final. Allah's determination in all matters is final. No one. There's none can change Allah's order. None. Right? In al-hukmu illa. In al-hukmu illa. This is a very fundamental principle that we should always understand. Allah is always in charge. He's always in control of everything. Even if it looks chaotic to us, even if it looked all so crazy and upside down to us, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge and He knows what He's doing. So we in our ignorance and our hastiness might question, why this and why that and what. No, Allah knows what He's doing and knows that He's always doing what is best. Even if it looks crazy to us, even if you don't understand it, even if you don't comprehend what's going on, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always aware and He's always in control. And when we understand this point, we do not understand because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows all. So we might be looking at it in a particular because we don't understand the wisdom behind something. We might not understand or comprehend the wisdom behind events. We might not. But this is where that we put our trust and dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as Yaqub is saying. This is where we put our trust and dependence on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because He knows the unseen. Allah knows the unseen. He is the control of the unseen. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put things in place. And He sets down a decree for stuff, how things should function, how it should go. And Allah establishes fundamental principles in His creation, the sunan of Allah in His creation. The sunan of Allah in His creation, how things function. And we look at the whole story, we see this playing out in the same story of Yusuf. It's playing out, the sunan of Allah in His creation. وَلَن تَجِدُ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَبْدِيلًا وَلَن تَجِدُ لِسُنَّةِ اللَّهِ تَحْوِيلًا. You will never find any change or deviation in the sunnah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Things will always function how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decreed them to function. They will always function according to how Allah has regulated them to function. And this is why when we in our ignorance seek to change, we expose ourselves to danger. We expose ourselves to danger. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He decreed happens. And so Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam is teaching his sons that taking precautions cannot affect the decree of Allah, even though we should take precautions. Even though we should take precautions, precautions does not affect the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Allah decrees happens. So we should. We cannot put our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not just what's the best way to put it? Just sitting back and putting our hands on our lap, as they say, not doing nothing. It's not passive. Tawakkul is not passivity, as many people think it is. Tawakkul is not passivity. You sit down and you want that Allah to work it out. No. Tawakkul is not like that. Tawakkul is ittikhad al-asbab. It is utilization of the means that Allah placed at our disposal, how things work in His creation. And we utilize those means and then we depend on Allah. So you see the lion there, you see the lion, you take precaution. You see the tiger, you take precaution. You see the wild beast, you take precaution. You don't hope that Allah can protect you from it. You understand? You take precaution. Right? So you safeguard yourself. Now, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants that animal, is in His decree that animal will harm you, then even the precaution that you take will not stop it from harming you. That is what we understand. But you must take the precaution. You must take the precaution. Because that is how you put your trust in Almighty God Allah. That is how you put your trust in Almighty God, Allah. You do what you need to do and leave Allah to do what He wants to do. That is how you put your trust in Allah. And this is what Yaqub alayhi salatu wasalam, he is teaching his children. That despite or regardless of whatever the circumstances, you always put your trust in Allah. And you depend on Allah. But you take precautions. As the saying goes, Aqilha wa tawakkal. Tie your camel and then put your trust in Allah. Right? That saying, is a very popular saying. I don't think it's a hadith, but it's a very popular saying. Aqilha wa tawakkal. It is a saying that people teach. It emphasizes a particular principle, but it's not. As far as I know, it is not a hadith. All right? But the principle is good. It is a good principle, right? It's a good principle. Because tawakkul, right? Tawakkul is one of the fundamental aspects of ibadah. It is one of the fundamental aspects of ibadah. And so you should put our trust in Allah. That's what he says. In al-hukmu illa lillah. Verily, the decision, the judgment, the decree is with Allah. Is with Allah. What He decides. He is the one, that decides, and no one can go against what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed and decided. And so, in al-hukm ilayhi, alayhi tawakkaltu, and on Him I put my trust. On Him I put my trust. And so Yaqub is teaching them this fundamental principle that, and Allah emphasized this principle over and over in the Quran. There's numerous verses in the Quran that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala emphasizes this principle of tawakkul. Right? It's a very key element of ibadah. It's a key element of ibadah, of worship. And so Allah emphasized this principle over and over again in the Quran. Right? I just like to take two examples on this just to emphasize this particular point before we continue. When the disbelievers reminded the believers, look, these people are going to destroy you, these people can do you this, these people that. Trying to put fear in the hearts of the believers for other than Allah. They're trying to put fear in the hearts of the believers for other than Allah. The believer should not have in his heart fear for no one else but Allah. You should not have fear for anyone else but Allah, because nobody can do you nothing except Allah decrees it. That's our belief in Qadr. Right? That's our belief in Qadr. You shouldn't fear nobody, right? But Allah, because no one has the power or ability or capacity to harm you if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decree that they can. If Allah did not destine it to happen, it cannot happen. Ma sha'allahu yakun. Whatever Allah wills happens. Ma lam yasha' lam yakun. And what that which He does not will cannot happen. That is all belief. That's all fundamental belief. That's a belief of us, people of Ahl Sunnah wa Jama'ah. That's our fundamental belief. So this principle is important. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so when they come with this to the believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says the believers said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instruct the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to say to them, Qul, say to them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, la yusibuna illa ma kataba Allahu lana. Nothing can befall us except what Allah has already destined for us. Nothing can happen to us Nothing will befall us except what Allah has destined for us. Huwa Maulana. He is our Mawla. He is our Mawla. He is our protecting friend and helper. He is our protecting friend and helper. He is our Mawla. وَعَلَى اللَّهِ فَلْيَتَوَكَّلِ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. So on Allah, let the believers place their trust. On Allah, let the believers place their trust. So the believers trust Allah. Believers are required to put their trust in Allah, not in anyone else. And then this is Surah 9, Surah Tawbah, Surah 9, Ayah 51. And then in Surah 11, Surah Hud, Ayah 123. Right? When I was going through this, I thought this was really, really fantastic. You know, we just, as we was going through this earlier, Allah SWT says, وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَلِلَّهِ غَيْبُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. And to Allah alone belongs the unseen of the heavens and the earth. And to Allah belongs the unseen of the heavens and the earth. وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُ الْأَمْرُ كُلُّهُ. Surah 11, Surah Hud. Surah 11. The surah just before this one that we're doing right now. Right? Surah 11, Surah Hud. وَإِلَيْهِ يُرْجَعُ الْأَمْرُ كُلُّهُ. And to him all matters or affairs return. Now, he's the one make decision concerning. The final decision is his always. Concerning every matter. Right? Fa'budhu, so worship him. Worship Allah alone. So worship him. Wa tawakkal alayh, and put your trust and dependence on him. And put your trust and dependence on him. وَمَا رَبُّكَ بِغَافِلٍ أَمَّا تَعْمَلُونَ. And your Lord is never unaware of what you do. Allah knows always what the people are doing. He knows whatever they're doing. He knows whatever we are doing. He knows it. Because we can't do nothing except by his express will and permission. We can't do nothing except by Allah's permission. So he knows whatever we're doing. He's never unaware. And this principle is taught. Is in Surah 11, Surah Hud, Ayah 1, 2, 3. Messages just like that. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Huh? It's serious. We look at the eyes of the Quran and the messages that come across. It is serious. It is easy as 1, 2, 3, if you understand it. If you understand it. That's it. You understand these principles and you work with them, it comes as easy as 1, 2, 3. That's the ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is emphasizing this principle for us. To Allah belongs everything. He's the one in charge. Always. We should always keep that in mind. That Allah is always in control. Always. Nothing happens or nothing can happen. Don't matter. It don't matter. When we look at reality, sometimes people we tend to get scared, and the enemy always trying to scare us, and Shaitan always trying to put fear in our hearts because they want us to fear other than Allah. But we should never, despite whatever the circumstance. Don't look at what's happening there. The appearance of things sometimes might be challenging. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the reality of it. Allah knows the reality of it. It might look big to you, but to Allah is easy. To Allah, it is easy. It's no problem. You put your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so you see the believers at Badr. It was just a few of them. The believers at Badr. It was about 100 and, how much of them? 100 and, 1,500, 1,700. How many of them? A few of them. Ill-equipped because they didn't go there. They didn't go for a battle. They didn't go to fight. So then, they're heavily armed and stuff because they didn't go for that. Right? They go to see if they can capture the caravan to get back some of the possessions that the Quraysh had confiscated from them. Right? Quraysh has confiscated all the properties when the believers made Hijrah to Medina. The Quraysh confiscated all the properties in Mecca. They confiscated all the stuff. So here, Badr was where the Prophet said he heard a big caravan, they bring out a big caravan. Abu Sufyan bring a big caravan from Syria. So here's an opportunity to try and see if you can recoup some of those losses for the believers. Right? But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a plan, and he made a plan, and Allah had a plan. Right? Prophet had a plan. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had a different plan. And Allah's plan always come to pass. See, there's a difference between it. We're supposed to plan, as they tell us. If we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. So it means that we have to plan. But now that when we plan, we have to plan, but we do not have the resources or the wherewithal to execute our plan except by Allah. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Allah plans, He has the wherewithal, He has the resources to implement His plan. So Allah's plan never fails. But our plan is always contingent on what Allah planned. So we should always keep this in mind. Right? We should always keep this in mind. So if the plan didn't work, we would become despondent. Yeah, if we keep this point in mind, understanding this, if we planned, we did everything, but it did not work out the way we planned, we are not despondent. We do not lose faith and hope. Because we knew our plan from the beginning was contingent on what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides. This is a deep understanding on how things work. So the believer is not despondent when his plan doesn't come to fruition. Because he knows from the beginning, his plan was contingent on what Allah decided. From the beginning. Because he doesn't have the wherewithal to execute his plan where Allah has. Allah has the ability to execute. This is why we depend on Allah. This is why we ultimately always depend on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so, he emphasized this point. Allah tawakkaltu, and I put my trust and dependence on Allah. Wa Allah falyatawakkal al-mu'minun, and al-mutawakkilin, and on let those who trust put their trust on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَمَّا دَخَلُوا مِنْ حَيْثُ أَمَرَهُمْ أَبُوهُمْ. So when they entered from where their father had instructed them to enter, right? When to enter from where the father had instructed them to enter and ordered them that should enter, لَن تُغْنِيَ عَنْهُمْ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, مَا كَانَ يُغْنِي عَنْهُمْ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. The precaution that they took of breaking down to small groups, maybe 3 or 4 groups, and entering from different gates, it did not avail them anything against what Allah has already decreed to happen at that point. Because the plan is always, Allah's plan was always an emotion in the life of Ibrahim, the life of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Allah's plan was in motion. Right? Allah's plan was in motion, right, in the life. And this is something that you know, when Allah tells us these stories of these prophets, of the prophets before, and how, you know, what were, you know, we see, you know, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala laying down, even with the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala he plans how the things should go with them. You see it laid out. Plan is laid down. That's what he determined should happen. And so, and the wisdom, we do not understand the wisdom behind it until we see it play out. Because, you know, as they say, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. Because now it happens, so we can reflect and say, well, you know, this and that and that, so we can see clearly. But we don't have that degree of foresight. Or foresight is still limited. May Allah grant us foresight.
Amen.
We judge best on hindsight. We judge best on hindsight. But not many of us have that degree of foresight. And it's important to have foresight and insight and hindsight. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us.
Amen.
Foresight, insight, and hindsight. We need all three. May Allah bless us with them. And so sometimes you don't understand. This is where we get caught sometimes, because these things might not be working for us. So like we look at it from this angle, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is looking at the whole matter. He's like the whole matter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sees all at one time, because past, present, and future, right? Because we are created in a time sequence, we are creation. All right? We are creation. And creation exists in a time sequence. Past, present, and future. Right? They exist in a time sequence. Right? Past, present, and future. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator. So he is not subject to time sequence. So past, present, and future is the same for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He sees it and knows it all. Past, present, and future is all one for Allah. He's not in time, he's in control of it. So it's not applied to Allah, because Allah is not in his creation. He's out of his creation. He's outside of his creation. He's not encompassed by his creation. He encompasses his creation. This is understanding. This is what our Aqidah teaches us. This is what our Aqidah teaches us. So he's not subject to time. You know, like Shaitan has put in the people's head, and they say, you know, where did Allah come from? That was Shaitan. Everything come from some place. Say, okay, so where did Allah come from? That is Shaitan. Right? And it is a trick, is a trick question he's throwing you, because he knows that Allah is not subject to time. He knows that, but he want to trick you. And you say, yes, yeah. And you can start the question. You start wondering. Because he got you off. Yeah. He tricks you. He tricked off our father Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. He says, you know, he knows Allah tell Adam not to eat from the tree. He knows the purpose. It's a test of obedience for Adam alayhi salatu wasalam. But here he throws something in. You know why Allah tell you not to eat from that tree? If you eat from that tree, you can live forever. Or you might become an angel. He always throws something inside to capture your attention, so you can start to think about it. And you might follow because it makes sense to you. Right? It makes sense to you. This is where we trust Allah, we depend on Allah. We go according to what Allah says, because if Allah said, then we know that is the reality of it. This is the reality of it. And so we depend and put our trust in Allah in this respect and in all aspects. And so when they went through, but it didn't come out. What Allah decreed happened. ما كان يغني عنهم من الله من شيء إلا حاجة في نفس يعقوب قضاها. This plot or this precautionary measure that was implemented was just something that Yaqub felt he needed to do. There's something he felt that he needed to do, that he implemented. Something that he, like Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam, Prophet Ibrahim, he says, Rabbi arni kayfa tuhyi al-mawta. Oh my Lord, show me how you does bring the dead to life. Allah said to Ibrahim alayhi salam, Alam tu'min, don't you believe? So Ibrahim says, no, it's not a matter of I don't believe. I believe, of course. But surely I do believe. Well, I can in the qalbi. It's just I want to satisfy my heart. I just want to satisfy my heart. So this is Allah SWT gives things to surety, to sure you up. Rasulullah did not disbelieve, but in the Am al-Huzn, in the year of sadness, when he lost both his wife, Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, al-Mu'mineen, and he lost his benefactor or protector, in his uncle Abi Talib. Both of them died the same year. One after that, just a few months from one another. They both died. So these are the two closest persons to the Prophet ﷺ. So this was deep sadness. It's called Am al-Huzn, or the year of sadness. Why? Because it was deep sadness for the Prophet ﷺ. It was at this time Allah SWT took the Prophet on Mi'raj, Isra Mi'raj. It was in that time Allah took him on Mi'raj to show him all that Jibreel was telling him. So he see it. He had it, ilm al-yaqeen. But Allah SWT wanted to give him now ayn al-yaqeen. Ayn al-yaqeen. Allah SWT sent Jibreel to take Prophet and he met all the prophets. All these yes, he met all the prophets.
I know.
Right? He met all the prophets that used that Jibreel had been telling him about. In the Quran, in Revelation, the Quran, prophets, Jibreel is telling him all these prophets. He never met them. He never met them. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to confirm his heart and give him that subtleness, that despite what happened, you persevere. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took him to Jerusalem and gathered all the prophets and led them in Salah. Gathered all of them and he led them in Salah. As the Imam, yes, he's Imam, the Prophet was his Imam. And he led them in the Salah. So he met all of them. And then Jibreel alayhi salam came with the Burak and took him up. Came and took him up into the heavens. And he went to the first heaven, second, third, right up to the seventh heaven. And Jibreel showed him this. He showed him the hellfire, he showed him the Jannah, he even showed him where his station would be in the Jannah. And the Prophet saw it in the distance. Saw it, Maqam al-Mahmud. And he saw it, and he says, oh, Jibreel, can I go and see? Go inside. He said, Jibreel said, no, you can't go inside. This is for the hereafter. This is not for now. But It's all short. So now he is absolute. He comes back full of confidence. He comes back full of confidence, ready to take on the next phase of his mission, because this was the end of this took place at the end of the first phase of his mission, which was in Mecca. This took place at the end of the first phase of his mission, which was in Mecca, and prepare him now for taking on the second phase of the mission, which was in Medina. This was building the code. Now the next one is implementing it. Implementation calls for a whole new, renewal of energy. A whole renewal of energy. Because the first energy is petering out. Jibril comes and he's shocked into a position. Ikra. The energy starts. Ya ayyuhal muzammil. Kum al-layla illa qalila. Ya ayyuhal mudaththir. Kum fa'anzir. The energy starts and the Meccan phase now is petering out. It's petering out. As his wife dies. And his benefactor, Abi Talib, dies. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving him now renewed energy. An energy that is based on not just ilm al-yaqeen, but is based on ayn al-yaqeen, that he saw it. With his eyes, he saw it. So his faith is his energy is restored and he's now ready to take on the second phase, because this is a big challenge. That second stage, this is the phase of implementation of all that he's being taught us. Implementation, how to create a practical model of what was being taught to him in Mecca, model of Tawheed. So went at the point. And this we see, this our plan, it goes like this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says of Yaqub, and he praises him, he says, وَإِنَّهُ لَذُو عِلْمٍ لِمَا عَلَّمْنَاهُ. And he was a possessor of knowledge of what we taught him. So Yaqub alayhi salam understood. And he knew that. So he was standing on firm ground. Yaqub wasn't doubtful. He was standing because Allah gave him the knowledge. And so he implemented and functioned according to the knowledge. He was not just functioning, but it's not something he read in a book. It was not something he read in a book. Allah said we gave him the knowledge. And so he functioned on that. And we look at all the prophets. They were resolute based on the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave them. They were resolute. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu salam. Resolute. Prophet Musa alayhi salatu salam. Resolute. Based on the knowledge that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given them. Yaqub understood. And he understood this. Despite whatever we do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in charge, and whatever he decides is going to happen just the same. Yes, because he understood. But lakin akthar an-nas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala closed the ayah by saying, lakin akthar an-nas la ya'lamun. Most people don't understand this insight. Most people don't have this knowledge. Most people don't have that insight into the reality of things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us this. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us this. Inshallah, we close at this point. After any quick question, we take it, inshallah. So that we will, inshallah, before we close off, inshallah, next week, inshallah, we're not going to have any session for next week, inshallah. During the week, inshallah, on Wednesday, I have to go do, I'm going for surgery on my eye. We have to do a partial corneal transplant on my left eye. to try to bring back vision in it. And I only got vision in my right eye now because got some damage on my left. So we can do a partial cornea transplant on my left eye to try to see to get some vision back into it. Allah make it easy for us. So next week I'm gonna be able because I'll be knocked out, inshallah. Allah make it easy for us. Yes, Bilal.
Yes, first statement, the question. Hadith statement. It says, all the men, all the jinn came together to benefit you. They could not benefit you, but what Allah has ordained.
Yes.
All the men and jinn came together to harm you. They could not harm you, but what Allah has ordained.
Yeah.
The pen is listed and the ink is dry. That which hit you could not have missed you, and that which missed you could not have passed you by. And then the question: what type of nurani amal can a person do to get basira?
When you make all the important principles of ibadah, you perform the ibadah with sincerity, and you get them in the night when everybody's sleeping, and you pray and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
You know, this is what I'm at right now. Surah 17, ayat 90, ayat 79, it's the same thing. Get up out your bed, right? Surah 17, ayat 9, 70.
Okay, well, you got the answer right there.
I'm just right here.
Yeah,
Assalamu alaikum. Talking about whatever Allah decree is going to happen. What do you have to tell us about the current disaster, I'll call it, I don't know how to call it, what is happening in China, this coronavirus, because it's scaring people about it, the way they're talking, a whole lot of things. What do you have to tell, to Muslims to calm the people down?
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners, all right? And whatever happens by the knowledge and by the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever happens by the knowledge and the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the best of planners. He knows the nose of things. He knows the nose of things. So he knows the backstory. We don't know the backstory. All right? We don't know the backstory. He knows because he knows, he looks over it all. We only looking at it from what we can see. All right?
There are President Muslims in China, and so Allah said that
Allah knows best. All right? Allah knows best. And sometimes, some things come back to us. Yes, it's true. Allah says, corruption is spread in the land of sea as a result of man's handiwork. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes allow us to feel results of some of our actions. Right? He allow us to feel some of our actions. So some of the stuff that we do sometimes that comes back on us that we ourselves because it happened. And Allah knows the wisdom why He allows these things to happen, and correction for it, and whether be whatever it is, Allah knows. So all we can do really is ask Allah's help and protection, and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safeguard and protect us from these things, and that He would make it easy for us and for all those who are affected.
I got tickets to the breakfast this morning at 4th Avenue.
Oh yeah, they had
What time?
9:30.
There's a fundraising breakfast at 4th Ave, and you can collect some tickets from the brother, inshallah.
Tickets only 15.
Yes.
When you say trust in Allah and tie your camel, do you say tie your camel and trust in Allah?
That's what we said. Tie your camel and trust in Allah. Tie your camel first.
Yeah, but the brother was
Because,
saying,
if you leave, the camel, actually, how, they call, the thing that people put on their head. In the old days, what the desert, there was no trees in the desert. You don't find trees. It's a whole thing, desert. So what they had a small rope, piece of rope, that, they put it on their head, they keep it on their head. But when they get stuck, they will tie the 2 front feet of the camel together like this. The camel can't walk away. Because they have nothing to tie. They can't tie to a tree. Because there's no tree. So they used to tie the foot, just the 2 feet of the camel, the front feet of the camel. So the camel can't really walk away. All right? It's called ekar. That's what they call it, ekar. So when the story is told, as I said, I don't believe it's a hadith. It's just a story. It's told, the individual, he asks, should I put my trust in Allah, leave him and I put my trust in Allah? And said, no. Tie it and then put your trust in Allah. Right? Because you leave it like that, it might walk away. So tie it, and if it's the will of Allah that it will stay, otherwise if it's the will of Allah, it will go. That is this is called ittikhad al-asbab, utilization of the means that Allah placed at your disposal. Like we mentioned last week, you want to fish, take a rod and go to the river or the lake or the ocean and put it in the ocean, put a nice worm on it, so you might catch a fish. That's ittikhad al-asbab. Don't sit down home and hope to get a fish. Right? Go there, and if you do utilize these means, then Allah might give you a big fish or a little fish. But if you don't do it, you ain't get no fish.
so, when you said you trust in Allah, somebody wanted something yesterday, and I went to get it, and I just walked to up to. When I got there, he was there. You know what I
Yes,
mean?
but you trust in Allah and you go forward. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِذَا عَزَمْتَ فَتَوَكَّلَ اللَّهِ. Anytime you take a serious decision on a matter, go forward. Put your trust in Allah and go forward with it. إِذَا عَزَمْتَ تَوَكَّلَ اللَّهِ. Once you make a firm decision to act, put your trust in Allah and go forward. Bilal, last question and we wrap up.
Check a room. Last ayat to the Bible, ayat 286. Translation: Allah charges no soul but to its capacity. It shall be paid for that which it has done of good, and against it who has incurred evil. So Allah said right here, check our room. The last ayat. Allah said He'll be good if you do good. He'll punish if you do bad.
Allah make it easy for us. طيب سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك وصلى الله عليه وسلم.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
On Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday we go in there.
Yes, what's up?
Pre-op.